discuss about the forces and then different types of examples of forces like gravitational force, friction, balance and balance force, and at the end we will see about mass and weight. First of all, forces. So what's your idea about the forces? What are they? Simply we define it: a push or pull exerted on an object is called force. So what does it mean by the push? Push means whenever you apply such a force that you something push away from you, it's going away from your body. That is mean by push. And pull mean whenever you apply force such a way that thing come near to you, it's called pull. Just for example, whenever you kick the football, so what you are doing? Think about it. You are just kick the football. So what are the options for you? You are push, you're applying a push force, pull, or there's no effect on the football. I think definitely your answer will be push. Next thing is that we must know there are different examples of forces like weight. Weight is the example of force. What does it mean by the weight? Weight means that whatever the attractive force on your body is exerted by the earth, that is the weight. Second thing that maybe you experience in your life, friction. Friction is also example of force. Friction is the force that resists the motion between two surfaces that touch each other. Friction between tires and the road help keep a car on the road. If there is no friction, you cannot walk on the road. You cannot walk on the floor even. You will slip. So there is a friction between your shoes and the floor surface. So you can move it. Second thing is a gravitational force. Is also example of force. Gravitational force between any object that has mass, gravitational force exists between it. Whenever the mass will be the big or the greater, gravitational force will be the big. You know, Earth has very big mass, so everything falls on it. So this is due to, it's called free fall motion, like motion under the effect of gravity. Only one force is gravity, so we call it free fall motion. So gravitational force depends on two things: mass and the distance between the object. So whenever third example is air resistance. So whenever anything falls through air will also apply a force on it to resist it, always opposite to the motion of the object. Other thing we are going to discuss after the force is gravitational force. In detail we'll discuss now a little bit. Gravitational force is the attractive force between objects. It exists between all the objects. It depends on two things: distance between the object, and second thing, mass. If the mass is small, we will not feel this force. Like your body has a mass, you just stand near the wall. Wall is not attracting you. Then gravitational force exists, but that force is very small, negligible. So if the mass is very big like the earth, then everything falls toward the earth because of the gravitational force, and this force is also called gravity. And on different planets, gravity is not the same. Like on the moon, gravity is less, so your weight will be definitely less there. Other thing that we will discuss in detail is about the friction. What is the mean by the friction and its different kinds? Friction, how you define? Friction means any force that opposes the motion of two surfaces sliding past each other. Like my hand is here. There are two surfaces, this paper and my hand surface. So whenever they are sliding across each other, there is a force that opposes the motion of my hand. That will be called as friction. And it always opposes the motion. So there are different kinds of friction like sliding friction, rolling friction, static friction, kinetic friction. Static friction means whenever two objects are in the form of rest, even there the friction exists. Like my hand and this paper. This is called static friction. Sliding friction is a force that opposes the motion of two surfaces sliding past each other. The sliding book on the desk, if you have, or even this marker, if you just slide here, moving like that, there is some friction that opposes the motion of this one. It is the example of sliding friction. Then there is a kinetic friction is also the same meaning. Whenever object is moving, friction that even exists between the surfaces. So this friction, whenever the object is moving, is called kinetic friction. On what thing this friction depends? The size of the frictional forces depends on how smooth the surfaces are. The rougher the surfaces, the more friction it will experience. Next thing we'll discuss something about the balanced and unbalanced forces. What do I mean by the balanced and unbalanced forces? Suppose here is a one object, okay. I just apply a force of 2 Newton here in right side, 2 Newton here on the opposite side. Just for example, we just see the coordinator north, south, east, west. Here is the east and west. I just for example, both forces are equal in value, but they are in opposite direction. So what is the net force? Net force will be 0. Object will move or not? No, it will be in the form of rest. It will not move. So this is an example of balanced forces. So just consider the same object. Suppose on the east, the force is 4 Newton. On the west, the force is small. I just make a small arrow, not a big one like that. Just 2 Newton. So what is the net force? 4 minus 2. 2 Newton. In which direction? East. So object will move in the east in the direction of force 2 Newton. So this is the example of unbalanced forces. Suppose this object mass is 2 kg. What is the net force? 2 Newton. So how much acceleration will be produced here? You will use simple this equation, A equal to F over m. What is F? 2 Newton. What is m? 2 kg. So its acceleration will be equal to 1 meter per second square. Other thing that we must know today, it's about the mass and weight. There is a small difference. We will discuss about them. What do I mean by the mass and weight? I think it's clear there. Mass means how much quantity of matter in the object. Weight is a force. Force, how much force act on the object. Gravitational force acting on the object, that is called its weight. Mass always the same, constant anywhere. Like your mass is 2. Suppose your mass is 30 kg on the earth. On the moon, mass will be the same 30 kg. But weight depends on the gravity. At different planets like on Jupiter, much more gravity than the earth. Your weight will be more. On the moon, less gravity. Maybe you have less weight there. Unit of mass. Mass is expressed in kilograms. Weight is Newton. Type of